Here's something you know already. It's just too darn hard to get new managed service clients. One of the biggest hurdles is that you're asking them to go from nothing straight to a monthly recurring revenue contract at the click of a finger. Surely convincing them it's safe to start spending their money with you is easy. You just put a strong case forward and then dazzle them with the service that they're going to be getting, yeah? Yeah, if only it was that easy. So if the client finds signing a contract with you a bit scary, how do we fix that? Is there a way to make them feel happy committing to you and spending money with you? Absolutely there is, and let me tell you what it is. What we're really talking about here is building trust. Trust is a massive currency within marketing and sales because the more trust that you have, the more likely people are to sign a contract and then throw themselves into your care. But the opposite of that is also the case. If you don't have enough trust built with your leads and with your prospects, then asking them to go from no buying relationship with you straight into a managed services contract is a big ask. I know it can be done, and it is done every single day, but surely we should be trying to make our lives easier, right? If you look at this from the point of view of the person buying, and by the way, that's always a great way to look at any of your marketing and your sales. Always, always, always look at it from the other person's point of view. So when they start looking for a new MSP, or maybe even their first MSP, we call them suspects. They have their arms folded. They are suspicious of everyone they find. They are not overly impressed with anyone at all. And even if they've been given a warm referral from a friend, or they find an MSP online that has tons of social proof, so it looks like a safe choice, they are still suspicious, asking someone to trust you with their technology. And as we said, it's a big ask. Now, they might not know what they don't know about technology, but they do know that if you get it wrong, their business is dead in the water. And this is one of the reasons why it takes so much time to build a relationship and warm up an arms folded suspect, turn them into a lead, turn that lead into a prospect, that prospect into an opportunity. It takes time, it takes effort, and it's exhausting because the risk is so big from their point of view. So let's see if we can de-risk that for them. One of the ways that you could do that is with a risk reversal guarantee. I've seen only a small number, actually a tiny number of MSPs do a guarantee. And the ones that do it, the best, they have massive guarantees. They guarantee absolute, complete delight, complete satisfaction. And if the client doesn't experience that, they can walk away. In fact, they will help them migrate over to another MSP. I've seen one MSP even do a money back within the guarantee. If you're not happy in the first 6 months, we'll let you move somewhere else and you'll get your money back. Now, if you're really confident about your delivery and your ability to create and maintain relationships with clients, then that's a smart route to go. However, for a lot of MSPs, a guarantee like that, and especially a money back guarantee, is a very scary thing to do. So if that's you, maybe a better way is instead to give them an easy first purchase. What is this? It's something that they can buy from you that's a one-off. It allows them to essentially sample your business. They can see what your customer service is like, what your delivery is like, what the quality of your work is like before they even have to think about actually signing a contract with you. And this process affects them a little bit at a cognitive level, but it affects them massively at an emotional level. If you can persuade someone who doesn't know you to give you just a little bit of money to do a one-off thing for them, then they are dramatically, and I do mean 10 times more likely to enter a long-term managed services contract with you. Do you like the sound of that? Yeah, me too. So the final issue that we've got to fix then is, what do you sell them? What is this easy first purchase that you could get them to invest in? Well, there are lots of different things that you could try. So you could start with something that's perhaps not directly related to the technology services that you supply. One idea for this is perhaps a lunch and learn. What if you could get someone to give you 20 or 30 pounds or dollars and come and sit in a room with you for a couple of hours, eat a sandwich, sit there listening to you like that, talking about, I don't know, cybersecurity, productivity, something like that. The content of the lunch and learn doesn't really matter so much, but that's a very easy first purchase. And don't forget, you're asking them not just for their money in this instance, you're also asking them for their time as well. And a prospect who gives you both time and money is actually a very, very high quality prospect compared to someone who perhaps just gives you a bit of money or just gives you bits of time, but not both of them. So you could then take that lunch and learn idea further and turn it into, I don't know, perhaps a seminar, maybe a webinar, although I do think in-person stuff is really better for this. You could even do on-site training. I do know of an MSP that does remote training for companies on how to stop their staff clicking a bad link in the email. So it's only like a 20 or 30-minute session. They do charge for it. It's done on Zoom, typically over lunchtime. The real power of doing that training is as part of that process, as part of the delivery, the MSP has a review booked with the decision maker at the end of the training. So he can go back and report to the decision maker on who struggled with the training, who may need further training. Here's a kind of a general assessment of what I think, the business's likelihood is that you may accidentally click a link. They can talk about other issues, other protections, and all of this training and the feedback. These are just tools to get this MSP I know onto a quality call with the decision maker where they're talking about that person's business. And as you can imagine, a lot of sales meetings come out of that process. So the prospect has been paying for training that ultimately gets them to trust the MSP, and then they're very happy to go on, or many of them are happy to go on and have a sales meeting. And let's take that onto one other idea, and that's to do some level of technology strategy consulting. So if doing seminars or training doesn't excite you, then obviously don't do it. You must always do things like this that get you excited. Otherwise, you just won't do them, or you'll do them in a very lackluster way. So what about giving someone a 90-minute technology review and perhaps even pulling together a technology strategy for them? That could be, I don't know, like a 60 or 90-minute meeting, sitting with them, talking about their business, their goals, everything that they want to achieve, everything that's important to them. And then you go away and you build a technology strategy for them. And I appreciate that that's going to be quite a light document because you've just had one meeting. You don't know them very well. But here's the thing. If you position it and price it accordingly, for most businesses that have no technology strategy whatsoever, and isn't that the vast majority of businesses, something that's been built with 90 minutes of your time talking to them and then you going away and doing a bit of thinking and a bit of writing and actually committing a strategy to document. For most businesses, that's going to be way better than having no strategy document whatsoever. And remember the big picture here. The point of the strategy document is to open bigger conversations about their business, where they're going, what support they're going to need on the way. Please don't overthink this. Don't overthink what you can and can't do for just a couple of $100 or pounds. In fact, I suppose you've got to think about the bigger purpose here, which is to get them buying something from you, something, anything, but then being utterly delighted by the delivery. And a side note on this, if you can find businesses that will pay you £1,000 or dollars or more for that kind of strategy consultation that we were just talking about, as you can imagine, they will make much better managed services clients in the long run.
Paul Green's MSP Marketing Edge.